I saw the message at 10:17 p.m. sharp. Hope your boyfriend doesn't mind you skipping leg day at my place tonight, winky face. It was from some guy saved in her phone as Troy Jim. The name didn't bother me as much as the way she laughed when I showed her the text. She didn't even look surprised, like she was expecting it. Relax, she said, with that same casual laugh. We're just working out together. Don't be insecure. I didn't say anything. What was I supposed to say? That I've had this weird gut feeling for weeks, ever since she started talking about how Troy was helping her fix her form. That I've been watching the way she smiles at her phone a little too long sometimes, the way her mood shifts when she gets a notification. Nah. Saying any of that would have just made me look like the controlling boyfriend she always swears I'm not. So I stayed quiet. But that night, I barely slept. I stared at the ceiling while she snored beside me, her phone lighting up every now and then from the nightstand. Probably Troy again. I could have checked. I could have picked up the phone and read through the whole thread. But I didn't want to confirm what I was already starting to believe. Instead, I made a quiet decision. Nothing dramatic. No shouting, no accusations. I just logged into her gym app. I was the one who set up the account in the first place, so I had all the info, and hit cancel membership. Done. I didn't expect what happened next. The next morning, I left early for work. Said I had an early meeting. She was still half asleep, wrapped in the sheets, murmuring something about meeting Troy for a killer session. I didn't respond. Just grabbed my keys and walked out. A couple of hours later, I got the first call. Then the second. Then third. By lunch, I had 23 missed calls and 7 messages from her. One just said, "WTF did you do?" Apparently, she showed up to the gym and got told at the front desk her membership had been cancelled. No warning. No explanation. Now she's freaking out. But here's the thing, I haven't replied. Not one word. She's pacing, probably thinking back to everything she's said to me in the last few weeks. Every time she brushed off my concerns. Every time she smiled at a text and said it was nothing. She doesn't know yet that I saw the message. She doesn't know that the quiet boyfriend she thought would just keep swallowing his feelings might finally be done pretending nothing's wrong. And the thing is, this isn't even about Troy. Not really. It's about her. The way she laughed. The way she made me feel like I was crazy for noticing. Now she's calling again. Do I pick up? Or let her wonder what else I know? I didn't answer the call. I just watched the screen light up with her name, Sophie Yellowheart, and let it ring out again. Part of me wanted to pick up and ask her straight out, how long has this been going on? But I didn't. I needed to think. I needed to breathe. We've been together for almost 3 years. Met during our sophomore year in college. She was the loud one in the group project, the one who made sure we all met deadlines. I liked that about her. She was focused, driven, always pushing herself. And somewhere along the way, I guess she started pushing me too. First it was helping me meal prep, then encouraging me to get a gym membership. I didn't mind it, honestly, it felt good. She made me better, or at least that's what I thought. Things started changing about 6 months ago. That's when she joined that new gym across town. Said it had better equipment, more advanced classes, and a great trainer vibe. That's when I first heard about Troy. Troy was just this guy who lifts heavy. At first. Then it turned into he gives me tips sometimes. And later, we partner for certain workouts. The thing is, she started spending a lot of time there. I'd get home from work, and she'd still be at the gym. I'd text her to check in, and she'd reply an hour later, saying she lost track of time or had to spot Troy for squats. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself not to be paranoid. But it got harder when she started hiding her screen every time I walked by. Or laughing at something she refused to show me. I noticed how quick she was to get defensive when I brought up the gym. Last week, I asked her if she'd want to go back to our old routine, working out together, morning jogs, Saturday hikes. She said I was being clingy? That I was. Interrupting her progress. I remember the way she looked at me when she said it, like I was holding her back. Now I'm here, staring at my phone, and she's still calling. The thing that gets me is how sure she was that I wouldn't do anything. That I'd just stay quiet like always. That I'd hear a message from another guy calling her over and not care. She even laughed about it. There's this weird space between heartbreak and anger, and I think I'm sitting in it right now. Because a part of me still wants to believe her. That maybe she was telling the truth. That it really was just a workout. But then why lie? Why hide things? My friends warned me before. Said she always liked attention. That she needed someone who could match her energy. I thought I was that person. Now, I'm not so sure. The phone buzzes again. Message this time. Please talk to me. I didn't do anything wrong. Didn't she? Or maybe I still don't know the whole truth. I stared at her message for a long time. Please talk to me. I didn't do anything wrong. I kept reading those words over and over, like maybe they'd start making sense if I looked at them long enough. But they didn't. Not after everything I've seen. Not after how quickly she brushed it off like I was the problem for even asking. What she didn't know was that I'd already talked to someone from her gym. A guy I knew from high school actually works at the front desk there. We reconnected last month when I picked her up once. Back then, I didn't think anything of it. Just a random hello. But after that message from Troy, I texted him. Asked a few questions. Casual stuff at first, but eventually I asked him straight. Hey man, have you seen Sophie and that Troy guy around? His reply came fast. Yeah, they're always here together. Like always. Not just workouts, bro. They hang out in the lounge after. Grab smoothies. Sometimes they even leave together. That hit different. He didn't say they were holding hands. Didn't say they kissed. But the way he described them, laughing, always close, leaving together, it didn't sound like just working out. And now she was texting me like I was overreacting. What made it worse was that I started noticing other little things. Like how she changed her phone password last month without telling me. How she suddenly started turning her phone face down when we were together. Or how she'd accidentally forget to mention Troy for days, only for his name to randomly pop up in some story when she slipped. And then there was that one night, 2 weeks ago. She came home late, said the gym had a power outage and they had to wait around. I believed her. But now I'm wondering if that was another lie. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how many small things I'd ignored. Not because I was dumb, but because I trusted her. I thought love meant giving space. Letting your partner grow, even if that meant they spend more time at the gym, or with new friends. I didn't want to be the guy who checked her messages or tracked her location. I wanted to believe that what we had was strong enough. But it's hard to believe that when your girlfriend's gym partner is texting her late at night with winks and inside jokes, and she's laughing about it. Now I was starting to wonder, was this just about Troy? Or had there been others? That's the part that made my stomach drop. Maybe it wasn't about one guy. Maybe it was about me not fitting into the version of her life she's building now, this new, fitness-focused, grind-set life where I don't really belong. She wanted me to talk. But I wasn't sure I had anything left to say. I didn't sleep that night. Her messages kept coming, long ones, short ones, voice notes I didn't open. Then came the missed calls again. 23 by morning. I didn't answer a single one. I didn't block her either. I just watched. Watched her try to explain, to reach out, to make it all seem like some misunderstanding. But the more she tried, the more it felt rehearsed. Like she was just trying to control the fallout, not actually fix anything. And then, just after 7 a.m., I got a message from my buddy at the gym. Bro, she just walked in. She looks pissed. I think she just found out. Found out what? That I canceled her membership last night. I knew it was petty. But it wasn't about the gym. It was about the silence that followed after she laughed off that message from Troy. It was about how small I felt in that moment, standing there while she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. Like I didn't have a right to feel something when another guy was texting my girlfriend like that. The cancellation wasn't revenge, it was clarity. A way to finally say, enough. 10 minutes later, my phone started ringing again. I let it go. Again. Then came another text. What the hell did you do? You're being immature. Grow up. No apology. No explanation. Just blame. She didn't ask why. She didn't even pretend to be surprised. It was like she knew I was close to walking away, and instead of holding on, she shoved me further out. I stared at the message, heart pounding. For a second, I felt like I was the bad guy. Like I'd overreacted. Maybe it was all innocent. Maybe Troy was just a friend, and I jumped to conclusions because of a flirty message and bad timing. But then I remembered the voicemail I finally listened to. I don't even know why I opened it. Maybe I wanted closure. Maybe I was still hoping to hear some crack in her voice, some truth. But instead, all I heard was her, angry and cold. You're ruining everything. You don't own me. It's not my fault if someone actually appreciates me at the gym. That line hit hard. Someone actually appreciates me? Was that it? Had she been looking for attention this whole time? Validation? Something I stopped giving without realizing? Or was it always there, the gap, just waiting to be filled by someone like Troy? I was spiraling now. I could feel it. Hands shaking, mind racing. Every little thing felt like a red flag I missed. Every word she said in the past few months now sounded different in my head. I looked out the window. Her car wasn't outside. But I had this gut feeling I'd be seeing it soon. And I was right. 10 minutes later, I heard the knock. Not loud. Not urgent. Just steady. Like she knew I was inside and wasn't leaving until I opened. I froze. Because I knew that whatever happened next would change everything. I didn't move at first. I stood there, just a few feet from the door, trying to keep my breathing steady. The knock came again, still calm, still patient. I could feel her presence on the other side. Sophie never liked drama in public, so she wasn't going to yell or bang. She was going to wait me out. And then I heard her voice, low but clear. Please, I just want to talk. I'm not here to fight. I didn't answer. But something made me step closer, just enough to peek through the side window without being seen. She looked tired. Like she hadn't slept either. But she was dressed in gym clothes, like she was trying to act like nothing had changed. Except everything had. I almost turned away, almost walked back into the kitchen to pretend none of this was happening. But then my phone buzzed. Not a call. Not from her. It was from an unknown number. Hey, I know this is random, but I thought you should know. Your girl's been getting rides home from Troy for weeks. I work the night shift at the gym. Thought you should hear it from someone who's seen it. Stay strong, man. No name. Just a message. But it felt like a punch to the chest. I stared at the text, my mind racing. If that was true, if she'd been getting rides from him, staying after hours, not telling me, then everything I suspected wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was real. And it was worse than I thought. Outside, I saw her pull out her phone, probably about to call me again. But then something unexpected happened. A second car pulled up. I didn't recognize it at first. Dark gray, tinted windows. It parked across the street. The driver didn't get out. But Sophie noticed. She froze, then immediately turned away from the door and started walking toward it. I watched, confused. She stopped at the window, leaned down, and they talked, quiet, quick. And then the window rolled down just enough for me to see who it was. Troy. I stepped back from the window, heart pounding. Why was he here? Why would she come to my house pretending she wanted to talk things through, only to have him waiting down the street? Unless this whole visit wasn't about making peace. It was about damage control. Maybe she knew I was starting to connect the dots. Maybe she thought if she looked apologetic enough, if she played it cool, I'd let my guard down. Let her back in before everything fully unraveled. But now it was unraveling anyway. My chest felt tight as I watched her look back at the house, hesitate, then walk back to the porch. She didn't knock this time. Just stood there. Waiting. I didn't open the door. Instead, I hit record on my phone camera and walked toward the peephole. If she was going to keep lying, I needed the truth to finally speak for itself. I kept the camera rolling in my hand, my thumb hovering over the screen, heart pounding like I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't take back. I watched Sophie through the peephole. She wasn't knocking. She was just standing there, like she knew this time was different. Like she felt the shift. Then she finally spoke. "Look, I know you saw him. I know what this looks like." I didn't answer. Just kept watching. She took a breath, then said it, soft, almost like she didn't want to believe her own words. "Troy and I, it wasn't supposed to be anything serious. That was it. No apology. No denial. No more. We're just working out. Just quiet confirmation." I felt my stomach drop, and even though a part of me had already known, hearing her admit it out loud did something I wasn't ready for. It made it real. But before I could open the door or even respond, something happened I didn't expect. Her phone started ringing. Loud, sharp. She fumbled to silence it, but not before I caught the name that flashed across the screen. Troy's wife. I froze. Wife? She picked up and quickly turned away, walking toward the street. I cracked the front door just enough to hear. "Yeah, I know. I told you I'm handling it." "No, he's not going to say anything. He doesn't even." She paused. Her head turned slightly like she realized how loud she'd been. Then she looked right at the house. I opened the door fully, stepping out onto the porch. She jumped a little but didn't back away. I could see panic rising behind her eyes. "I don't even know what I'm hearing right now," I said, voice low. She opened her mouth, trying to spin something, but I raised the phone, still recording. "Please don't," she said, voice cracking. "You weren't just cheating on me," I said. "You were helping him cheat on his wife?" Her face fell. She looked down, then away toward Troy's car. He was still there, watching. "You don't understand," she said, reaching out like that would somehow fix anything. "But it was over. You lied to me," I said. "You laughed in my face when I tried to talk about it. And now I find out you've been hiding even more? I don't care what your reason is. I'm done." She looked like she wanted to cry, but no tears came. Maybe she knew it was too late. Maybe she didn't even feel bad, just caught. She turned to go, but right before she stepped off the porch, I said one more thing. "You should probably answer her call again. She messaged me too." She froze mid-step. I sent her the screenshots. And just like that, the color drained from her face. I closed the door quietly behind me, heart still pounding, but lighter somehow. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel unsure. But later that night, as I sat alone scrolling through my messages, a new number popped up. "You think you ended it. But you don't know the whole story yet." And just like that, the silence cracked wide open again. I stared at the message for a long time. "You think you ended it. But you don't know the whole story yet." I didn't recognize the number. No profile picture. Just a chilling reminder that maybe this drama had more layers than I thought. But after everything that had happened, with Sophie, with Troy, with the truth finally out, I didn't have the energy for games anymore. I didn't reply. Instead, I blocked the number, shut off my phone, and sat quietly in the dark. The past few days had been a mess of doubt, betrayal, and unanswered questions. But somehow, now that it was all out in the open, I felt more clear-headed than I had in weeks. Maybe even months. Sophie didn't try to come back again. She didn't text. Didn't call. The silence that followed told me more than any apology ever could. She wasn't sorry for what she did, just sorry she got caught. And maybe in some twisted way, she knew the best thing she could do was walk away. Troy's wife messaged me later that week. Short and to the point. Thanks for the screenshots. I had my suspicions. Now I know. That was it. No drama. No blame. Just quiet closure between two people who got dragged into something they never asked for. I never heard from either of them again. The gym wasn't the same for a while. The front desk girl gave me an awkward smile when I came back, like she knew something had gone down but didn't want to say it. A few of the regulars nodded at me with that look that says, "Yeah, man, we heard." But I kept showing up. Day by day, rep by rep, I started rebuilding my routine, my peace, and my trust in myself. There's something powerful about picking yourself back up after someone tries to break you down. You don't just heal. You grow tougher. Smarter. Sharper. I started spending more time with people who actually cared. Friends I'd been ignoring. Family I hadn't called in a while. I realized how much I'd let that relationship isolate me. How I'd let little red flags slide just because I didn't want to believe someone I loved could hurt me like that. But they did. And I survived it. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's this: if someone laughs when you're hurting, they were never really on your side. Love isn't supposed to make you doubt your worth. It's supposed to make you feel safe, respected, and seen. And no matter how long it takes, you'll always find peace again, as long as you walk away from what tried to break you. That text from the unknown number? Maybe it was just someone trying to stir up more drama. Or maybe it was a warning I didn't need anymore. Because the real story was already over. And I had finally turned the page.